What on earth were you doing out so late on a day like this?
Gosh, you're so annoying.
These days, my husband Michael is always finding excuses to stay late at work. I can't believe any father will come home late like this on his daughter's birthday. It's unbelievable. I can't help but question if this person is really my husband. Is he worthy of being called our daughter's father? I'm starting to lose my faith. I feel like him being a husband and father is no more than a title on paper. I have this gut feeling that we're not going to stay as family together. My name is Catherine, a working housewife of 40. 10 years ago, I got married to my husband Michael, who is 1 year older than me. Now, we live together with our 8-year-old daughter. I used to be a model, but now run my own business. Even though I live a busy life, I still want to cherish my family. It's natural to devote time for my daughter while taking care of daily chores as well. I get off work around 7 p.m., so it's become a regular thing for my daughter to head to my parents' place after school. After work, I make it a daily habit to go pick up my daughter there and head home together. On the other hand, Michael is a sales representative. Since he has daily overtime, I end up taking care of all the household chores. It's become an understanding that my husband doesn't have the time to pick up our daughter. We're both quite busy, but always try to make time to go out on weekends and have fun as a family. However, I've recently begun to notice something strange about Michael. It just felt weird looking at him coming home so late at night.
My major client only has time at night. There's nothing I can do about it.
But isn't it strange that you have to work this late?
Stop complaining. I'm different from you, working only whenever you please.
I was speechless. Because I saved up my money and started my business still as a student, I've never had the experience of being an employee. I don't know what it's like and so decided to trust Michael's words. Despite our discussions, Michael still continued to be away from home with business trips and working on holidays. Our daughter was also worried that her father was away so much on the day of our daughter's birthday. I reminded him strongly that it was her birthday and he needed to come home early. But still, Michael came home after midnight. He did not even care to answer his phone, no matter how many times I called. I work hard to find time for my daughter. Honestly, it feels like Michael is putting his family behind. I don't want to say the word, but if this keeps on going, I can only doubt that he's having an affair. But I try to shake off my thoughts and convince myself that Michael is saying the truth. That night, I stayed up late waiting for Michael, but couldn't take it anymore when Michael came home at 2 in the morning. Where on earth were you? Michael smelled alcohol. He shouldn't smell like this. He said he was working late.
Shut up.
How can you not come home on your daughter's birthday? She was looking forward to it.
Not another word. I work hard every day for this family, deterring up bosses I don't even like.
I'm fed up with this. Maybe you should consider changing jobs. Can't you think this is affecting our daughter? Why don't you move to a company with less overtime? I screamed at Michael with tears in my eyes. I hope that he would understand if we talk it over. We were once a happy family. However, Michael was no longer the man he used to be.
Every day I work hard for the family, be nice to you and our daughter. But you're saying this isn't enough. I feel so uncomfortable in my own house.
After this huge argument, we couldn't live with each other anymore and decided to separate. Strange, but I somehow felt relieved. Life with Michael was full of worries, not knowing when he would come home. My daughter got used to this as well and stopped worrying about her dad not being home. One day after 3 months of living apart, I felt something strange as I returned home from work. The furniture seemed to be moved a bit. Robbery? I froze in fear. My daughter's safety came to mind first, so I decided to leave her at my parents' house for a while. Then, along with my father, we checked to see if we were trespassed. We checked everywhere, including places where we usually don't go. but there was no one in the house except the two of us. Vi checked the shelf where my valuables were and seemed as if something has been touched. Although nothing seemed to be stolen, I contacted the police. For fingerprints, I called Michael. It looks like there was a trespasser. The police are here for fingerprints. Can you come as well? Michael replied with a sigh.
Don't worry, that was me. I went there this morning.
What? Without letting me know.
What are you saying? I don't need permission to enter my house.
I was scared to death just because you didn't tell me in advance. I felt relieved that it was Michael and not an intruder.
Just tell the police to go back.
I will. I had no choice but to explain the situation to the police and apologize. I felt utterly embarrassed. My parents were furious with Michael for causing such trouble. Then suddenly, I felt like I was forgetting something. A week later, I usually use cash for my bills and hardly any cards. Because of this, I couldn't realize that I was missing my card from the shelf. It was strange that only the card seemed to be missing while the other valuables were untouched. I might have misplaced it, but then something came to mind. When Michael came into the house before, I noticed that my valuables have been touched. It was just a hunch, but I couldn't get it out of my head. Has Michael stolen my card? Is that why he was here? Michael knew where I keep my valuables and that I don't carry my cards around. But this is just my hunch, and there is always the possibility that someone else stole it. Anyway, I picked up my phone to report the card missing. After that, I immediately called Michael. Did you steal my card?
Me? Why? No.
His voice seems to be shaky. I couldn't help but think he was a sales representative. You knew where my card was and took it when you entered the house last week. Judging from your voice, I can't think of anyone but you.
Are you calling me a thief?
Oh right, you just stopped by while we were away and just looked through my valuables, right? Is that when you stole my card?
I don't know what you're talking about.
By the way, after we separated, I installed security cameras everywhere. You understand how dangerous living alone with my daughter is. I think I'll take a look at them.
No, stop.
Doesn't he understand that panicking only makes him look more guilty? Well, so are you going to admit it? You stole my card, didn't you?
Fine, it was me. I knew where you kept your valuables, and you don't carry your cards, so.
I see. I was bluffing about the security cameras. But thanks, I think I'll install one next time. You never know when it comes in handy. Now, give me back my card now. I hung up, ignoring everything Michael was saying. Next day, Michael came with his parents. I knew he was coming in advance, so I left my daughter with my parent just in case. It feels like my decision was correct. I thought my parents-in-law came with him to apologize, and that Michael will leave as he gave me back my card. Please give me back my card. Hearing this, Michael and my parents-in-law gave me a stare. My mother-in-law started shouting,
"What is it with you and your attitude? Trying to make my dear Michael the villain.
What on earth are you talking about?
Ever since your marriage, you've made him do all the chores and yelled for not making enough money. You're a terrible wife and mother who doesn't do anything herself. That's what Michael told us."
I was caught off guard, but stared back at her and Michael. Michael has this creepy smile on his face, as though he has won everything. He's probably trying to silence me by involving his parents. Even if what my mother-in-law just said is true, it doesn't give him the right to steal my card. I was about to blow. Never can I forgive what Michael has done. Ridiculous. Not a good wife or mother. A husband and father who don't take care of his family, comes home drunk in the middle of the night, steals my things, and lies to his own parents. Michael is a real scumbag. I don't recall anything you say I did, but if Michael says so, it must be true. Unless he's got something to hide.
Are you calling my son a liar?
My father-in-law started threatening me with strong words. Does he think I will be scared? Doesn't he know I successfully run my own company in a highly competitive industry? There's no way I'd yield to such threats. Convinced that I was frightened, Michael started to speak.
Who are you calling a liar? I will forgive you if you hand me your savings as compensation. Don't think about suing me. Our income as a married couple is considered shared property.
Yes, I know. If it was my husband who used Tenem with my card, this is not considered a crime. It seems my parents-in-law didn't know how much money he spent with my card. They were surprised by the amount, but I can see their faces smirking. It seems they think if Michael gets away with this, it would also benefit them.
I'm going to split the rest of your savings with my parents. If you can't agree, we're looking at a divorce. And get out of my house.
I couldn't stop but laugh. Well, how about this? I'll give you the rest of my savings and we'll divorce. But I will take custody. You're such a terrible influence on my daughter. It seems you're doing just fine with someone else after all.
How did you find out about her?
Wouldn't I be a fool if I couldn't figure it out? You've been acting suspiciously so many times. My mother-in-law started screaming again.
This is all on you. I don't know how much you think you're worth, but you've been a terrible wife, not meeting Michael's needs. I was against this marriage from the beginning.
Surely, it would seem to them like I was the only one to blame. But the truth is, I was raped by Michael, who had come home drunk in the middle of the night. I would have refused under different circumstances. I thought about telling them the truth, but simply smiled at them and responded, I see. Then I guess there isn't a problem for me to have custody.
Do as you please.
My parents-in-law are old school, not interested in my daughter just because she was a girl. In any case, I'm happy that I can finally get a divorce without much fuss. Once the conversation was over, I made a final advice to Michael. Use the rest of my savings wisely, just when you need it. Shortly after, Michael and I got divorced. Michael demanded that I move out, but when I said you've got all my savings, show us some mercy. He seemed pleased by my words and said I can do anything I want with the house. I changed the house under my name and immediately sold it. I sold everything inside as well. Everything else went into the garbage, and I returned to my parents' house with my daughter. It seems that Michael didn't touch my savings for about half a year. He seemed to be enjoying a luxurious life along with his parents using their money. They ate out every day and hired a housekeeper. Michael's parents must have saved some money for their remaining years. But they should know that no matter how much money you have, it will all disappear if you keep wasting it like water. The call came to me sometime after the divorce, but the call wasn't from Michael or his parents, it was from the bank. Someone claiming to be your family is trying to withdraw NM from my savings. Of course, the bank wouldn't accept such a request. We're not family anymore. Even if Michael was still my husband, 10M is a large amount of money. The bank wouldn't accept it without my letter of attorney. How could they have not known? They all probably look like criminals trying to withdraw cash with a card that was reported stolen. I immediately went to the bank. When I arrived, I was escorted to a separate room where, in addition to Michael and his parents, the police were there questioning the three. My ex-mother-in-law started crying as soon as she saw me.
Catherine, what is this all about? Why can't we withdraw any cash?
It was hard to suppress my laughter, but I explained slow and simple so they can understand. Did you really think you could use that card? The card I reported getting stolen? I stopped and had it reissued. I didn't think it would take this long before you tried using it.
You're unbelievable. No wonder I couldn't use it anywhere.
You got what you deserved. Who was the one to lie first? That I don't do housework. That I yelled at you for not earning enough. Who's speaking now? Remember when I suggested that you change jobs because of your constant overtime? even if it means a lower salary. Michael was stunned to see me blow. Everyone in the room, seeing Michael in silence, seemed to understand who was speaking the truth. My ex-father-in-law shouted at him, "Michael, is she saying the truth? Can you look me in the eyes and say Catherine is a liar?" He grabbed Michael and made him look up, but Michael remained silent. I continue with the story. "Anyway, remember when I told you to use my savings wisely? That was because I had some preparations."
What kind of preparations?
"Investigating your girlfriend. But honestly, I've been waiting for the moment you guys would start using my card." I couldn't help but snicker.
It must be fun to corner me like this, huh?
But in surprise, his parents began apologizing to me in tears.
"I'm sorry, Catherine. We were completely fooled by Michael. Please forgive us."
Michael seemed to be shocked by this. Leaving Michael aside, I turned to his parents. "I don't have anything against you both. Michael is my only interest." I smiled at Michael, who collapsed and clung to his parents.
Dad, Mom, help me. Don't leave me.
His parents didn't seem to help him one bit.
"Michael, get off from me. Lying to your parents is outrageous. You're not to set foot in our house ever again."
The three of them started arguing. I apologized to the bank officials and then explained the situation to the police. As the police decided this was no advanced criminal activity, they left. I also left after them, leaving Michael and his family behind. Michael and his parents would be kicked out of the bank soon enough. Later on, I heard that Michael was kicked out of his parents' house. Vi claimed alimony from Michael. However, he had already spent every penny he had. Michael requested to pay in installments, but I refused his request. He asked for it. Michael eventually paid the alimony but ended up buried in debt. The mistress was also charged for the affair, and she paid in full with the help of her parents. When Michael turned to her after breaking into debt, she disappeared and was never heard from. Now, Michael is alone, with only debt left with him. As for my in-laws, they seem to regret disowning their only son. Someone has told me that they live a lonely life now, without a son and grandchild. As for me, I'm still living with my parents and they help me care for my daughter. I can't be thankful enough. I remain to work hard to spend family time with my daughter. She does not talk about her father much and loves to spend time with her grandparents. I know I've put her through tough times, but determined to make the rest of my daughter's life happy,